Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with a birthday card featuring Create a Smile stamps and dies. I was trying to create a purple birthday card for a friend, and I mentioned this before because I created a couple of different purple birthday cards, so there's going to be kind of like a little series of them. And so I started with some distress inks because you get a lot of different color purples, and distress inks look great blended, but I thought it would be fun to use them independently as well. So my idea was to mask off some stripes and add in the three different colors of distress ink. I am using Dusty Concord, Seedless Preserves, and Wilted Violet. I have taped them down to my grid mat. The grid mat is particularly helpful in this situation because I can line things up perfectly straight. I use a paper grid mat so that I don't have to worry about the ink smearing because it will dry into the paper. But a self-healing or permanent grid mat would also work excellent. And I am using the Frog Tape Delicate Surface. This is key because it will not rip your paper. And oftentimes tape will rip your paper, even tape that's meant for masking or painter's tape. This is the only one that I have found that does not rip the paper. I've heard the Micropore. I've bought so many. But this is the one, finally. At least I've used it for a couple weeks, and it seems like the one. I just don't want it to be disappointed, but I really think that this is it. So basically, I made the stripes wider, thinner as it went up, and I just laid it right across. And for applying the distress ink, I'm basically just trying to lay on a strong coat, so there's no real technique to it. I am kind of pulling from the edges of the tape, just to create a really hard line at the tape because I do want it to have those nice crisp lines. But overall, I'm trying to get really even coverage. And once I had the distress ink laid down, I dried it a little bit, mostly to dry the ink that is on the tape so that when I did this next step, it didn't just kind of go everywhere. And what I did was I took some Perfect Pearls in the the Perfect Pearls pearl color actually. And I mixed it up. I covered the back of the card and I just spritzed it on. So that way the purple wouldn't just be solid purple, it would be shimmery. And because these are distress inks, they aren't solid stripes here. If you wanted solid stripes, I would just add more ink. I really was kind of looking for some interesting variation. Plus when you add the Perfect Pearls over it, there's going to leave some darker and lighter spots because the pearl leaves actually a very slight white color. So you want to keep that in mind. But again, if you want a more solid stripe, just add more ink, or maybe you could try like a dye ink instead, and that might sink into the paper a little bit differently. Whereas distress inks, I think, are meant a little bit more for blending and that sort of thing. So here I am peeling up the tape, and as you can see, I'm going kind of slow. I do think that's still important, but I'm able to pull it off. I did not sometimes if you want tape to be a little less sticky, you can put it on your sweater, your shirt, your arm, something like that, take some of the stickiness off. I didn't even do that with these. I just placed it right on the paper and I was able to pull it up without a problem. If, though, you try to pull it up really quickly, or if you don't kind of work with the angle, I think there's probably a chance it could rip. So I would recommend not just, kind of tearing at it. And once I have that up, I'm ready to move on to some more layering. And I'm going to be putting down some ink in these same three colors on a piece of white cardstock and then doing some die cutting. Create a Smile Stamps also sells dies and enamel dots and sequins. There's other stuff at their website, and I will leave a link in the video description to Create a Smile. I put a little bit of distress ink from each of those three colors onto a piece of paper, and then I'm using these birthday dies. You come with 3 fonts in one die package, and I'm going to use each one of the fonts today for each of the colors and then sort of vary them. And I put some double-sided tape on the back so that way when I do my die cutting, there's already going to be adhesive because these are relatively small word dies. And I'll come back to that in just a bit. But I'm using the Popping Over stamp set from Create a Smile for the 3 critters. They look to be sort of peeking over the edge of a wall. I'm not quite using them that way today because I'm lining them up with the bottom edge, but I thought it was a fun way to sort of play with the stripes and to add some critters. Now, I don't know the favorite animal of this friend. I don't know why I didn't think to ask that. So I was like, well, I'll just add a whole bunch of cute animals. Maybe one of them will be her favorite. So I have a fox and an elephant and a bear all going on the same card. So there's bound to be one that she thinks is cute. And as you see, when I stamp them down, I want to make sure that the birthday is still going to fit. So I'm going to stamp the elephant to the left and then the fox to the right, so kind of alternating. But I still need to leave enough room for these sentiments. And I'm going to do some variation with the sentiments. I don't want the birthdays, like they're not going to stick out really, really prominently because they're purple on purple. However, I want them to be noticeable. So the Dusty Concord is the bottom strip, so I took the Dusty Concord word and put it in the middle. And the Seedless Preserve is the middle strip, so I put the Seedless Preserve's die cut on the Wilted Violet and so on. So I kind of just bumped them all up one, so that way the purples are still different and they stand out a little bit more. Once I stamped all 3 of my critters, I stamped them in the versafine ink, and this is really just an outline. I'm going to be doing my coloring completely separately, but this is more just for placement. Like I want to make sure that I can get everything, all the elements on the card, and have a guide for where I'm going to place these down, even though I'm going to be completely covering where you see stamped right now. I am placing down the 3 birthday words, and then I'm going to be using this birthday stamp set, also from Create a Smile, to add some words. This is supposed to kind of coordinate with the birthday dies, although you don't have to have them because there are birthday stamps in there too. And so it's just a whole bunch of different combinations, like you can stamp for your birthday, birthday wishes, happy birthday, crazy birthday, I think, is one of the choices. That was a little more unusual. Have a great birthday. I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of different birthday sayings in it. And since, birthdays are like a really easy thing to make cards for, and make cards for it a lot, I thought, well, I'll definitely use this stamp set a bunch, and then I can combine it with word dies. Because I could see like combining it with the word Christmas too, or something like that. So I added some of them below and some of them above, again, just to continue the variation, because I kind of wanted them to each be opposites and make it a little bit more playful. And so I have a sentiment that works before birthday for 2 of them, and then after birthday for the other one. So you kind of have that pattern over and over throughout it. And stamping some of them in the white area and some in the purple as needed. And it's kind of weird to have like 3 different sentiments on one card, but I tried to think about 3 sentiments that sort of worked well together. Now, for coloring the critters, I could have copic colored them, and I'm fussy cutting them out, so it doesn't really matter. It's going to take a long time no matter what, because fussy cutting them is time consuming. However, I thought, well, let me keep the coloring quick at least. So I just took my Distress inks, and I'm coloring in the critters by taking the round foam blender and smushing it right on. Just trying to get a nice, solid coverage of them. No special blending or anything like that. Just color onto the stamps. And so I stamped these in versafine ink too, because it's a really, really dark black ink. And so I knew that adding the color on top wouldn't fade it or anything like that. And I can go over it with some details to add some dimension, and you can even use copic markers on top of the Distress ink. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I thought, well, why not just keep the coloring quick and then sort of keep it in the same sort of tones as the background. Basically just, for ease of coloring. I am ready to start fussy cutting out all of these pieces. I taped my card to my work surface just so that it wouldn't keep popping up in the video. You obviously don't have to do that. It's not really serving any function other than to keep the card flat so that you guys can see it. I put the tape on the back of these before I cut them out, just like I did with the word dies to keep it easier. I recommend having 2-way tape for these purposes. I have some stick-it adhesive. It hasn't been my favorite, but everybody likes different stuff. This is Elizabeth Crafts Designs double-sided tape and that I picked up, so I'll try to find a link for that. For the fox, his face is going to be white and orange, where the other ones are solid. So I actually stamped 2 of the foxes and cut out one with the just the solid white paper, and then the top piece out of the orange. And I was able to line that up perfectly with where I already had stamped it down. It gave me really clear direction about where to stamp them, and I didn't have to worry about the placement. Did I put the paws in the exact right place, because the paws aren't attached to the head. and so I had to cut all of that out separately. I wanted to add just a few more details to these because they wouldn't be 100% solid. Like there might be a little bit of pink to the ears or to the mouths, for instance. And so I'm taking some copic marker and adding a little bit of detail to the ears just with a really light pink. I think it's an R11 marker. And also for the elephant's little nails, which might be a different color. You could probably use black too if you don't have a good white gel pen or something like that, but I use the Uniball Signo white gel pen to just add a little bit of detail there. And then I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and dry because it is a clean and simple card in the sense of having a lot of white space. And that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel as I share at least one card a week. And in the video description, I'll leave you links to Create a Smile and to all of my social media so you can come join us, especially the Critter Lovers paper crafting group, which I'd love to interact with more of you on. Thanks for watching. Bye.